Story 1. My aunt used to say, I have to see a man about a horse. I never understood it, but I often use it because it makes me laugh. Story 2. Toilet activities in different countries. United Kingdom. Taking a dump, snip off a length of dirty spine, casting Churchill's reflection. Italy, going to the thinking place. Bulgaria, shaking the pear tree. France, dropping a peach. Belgium, knitting a brown sweater. Switzerland, punishing the porcelain. Denmark, blowing pigs. Poland, sculpting in bronze. Germany, lowering on a rope. Norway, sinking a seal. Sweden, strangle an eel. Russia, depositing a maggot. Finland, grunting dark. Story 3. We had been married for about a year, and we were watching television. During a commercial break, I got up and told my wife I would be back because I had to go to the bathroom and would be a while. She let out a heavy sigh and asked why I needed to tell her that. Don't we have things about ourselves that we don't need to share? So I said, fine, I'm going to go keep a secret. Now our euphemism is, I'm going to go keep a secret. Story 4. In my office, we refer to it as a meeting on the 10th floor because the better restrooms are located there, along with the chief executive officer's office. Story 5. Proud to say this happened in my hometown Home Depot. Story 6. Pass some legislation. This line is from an early episode of American Dad when George Bush is at Stan Smith's house. Story 7. We hum the first 6 notes of Bad to the Bone. If you're old enough to have watched Married with Children, then I won't need to explain it. Story 8. I need to shake hands with the governor. I have also used, I need to confront the witness. Story 9. Nature is calling. My parents have a decorative sign that says, the mountains are calling, and I must go, which is clearly meant for outdoorsy people like my family. It always makes me think of that phrase. Even worse, it is displayed in the dining room, not the bathroom. Story 10. When I was in 6th grade, we learned about the characteristics that define something as alive. One of these characteristics is that living things need to eliminate waste. For the next couple of months, whenever we asked our teachers to use the bathroom, we would jokingly say that we needed to eliminate waste. Story 11. One summer evening just after sunset, my girlfriend and I took our dog for a walk around the neighborhood. The weather was nice, so we decided to go for a longer walk than usual. At the furthest point of our walk, my girlfriend grabbed her stomach, said, "Oh no," and had an audible gut gurgle. "We need to get home now," she said. We turned around to head home, and a moment later, she apologized, saying, "I'm sorry. This is an emergency. Don't judge me." She ran into the yard of a house we were passing and ducked into their bushes to take care of business. A few minutes later, she emerged, visibly embarrassed, and said, "Let's get out of here." As we were leaving, we noticed a car in the driveway, a Bentley, whose license plate read 2, just the number 2 and nothing else, which had its own sort of hilarious irony. Given that low number plates in our state generally indicate government officials, I pointed out the license plate to her and said, "I think you just did that in the lieutenant governor's yard." It took her a while to go from feeling embarrassed to finding it funny, but now we consistently say when heading to the bathroom, "I'm going to visit the lieutenant governor." Story 12. My wife and I use the phrase, "I'm going to kill flies," as a euphemism for using the restroom. Started as a joke when I said that when I use the toilet, even flies seem to fall down mid-flight. Story 13. One I remember from British television decades ago. I have to go and shake hands with my wife's best friend. Story 14. Dropping Trump off at the White House. We have taken a number 1 and a number 2, but when you are carpet bombing the toilet, well, that's a big mess. Story 15. I say, "I need to use the restroom." Keep in mind, I'm a man pretty built and bald, so saying that usually gets a few laughs. That's my point. Story 16. Filing paperwork. Meeting with the water company. Testing the plumbing. Praying. Summoning a demon. Making a deposit. Testing the toilet. Story 17. Download a brown load. Honk out a dirt snake. Paint the porcelain. Lay a cable. Drop the children off at the pool. Story 18. As a person who works outside, there isn't always a toilet available. A term I use is planting a tree. At home, I carve a table leg. Story 19. Due to the fact that in the 3 years of living with her, my roommate always suddenly needs to talk to me when I am in the bathroom, unless she is at work or sleeping, though sometimes I still receive a text or call from her. My whole household, including my roommate, my husband, my son, and myself, has taken calling it going to the bathroom as doing a summoning spell. Story 20. I am going to disappoint my parents. When backpacking, I sing, I am going to dig a hole and put the devil in it. Story 21. I had never heard of it before until watching The Guild, but having to use the restroom makes me laugh. Story 22. My husband says, I have to go take a business call. I don't know how this started, but now it's our inside joke that we use every time we have to leave. Story 23. Baking brownies. Taking the kids to the restroom. Enjoying the chocolate experience. Feeling delightful. Releasing the fudge bars. Story 24. My dad would go for a walk. Mom would need to use the restroom. I shake the dew off, and my cat finds a spot. Story 25. I have to reapply my lip liner. Men may not understand its significance, but women know it requires time and focus. Story 26. Strain the potatoes. Direct the stream towards the porcelain. Splash the boots. Remove the excess liquid. All from The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie. Story 27. I'm going to see a man about a horse. I think I am going to cut down a tree and drop a few logs. Story 28. We used to say going to the litter box, but now states are proposing legislation to make this term illegal. Story 29. When I was little, before going to bed, my dad would always say, okay, time for bed. Go give Wazza a run, meaning to go to the bathroom before bed. I still sometimes say it. Story 30. When my husband or I have to take a particular stinky poop, we say, I am feeling presidential. Better visit the Oval Office. Or if it's a spicy fart, we say, I almost had a presidential situation. Story 31. I occasionally say, I'm going to give birth to a chocolate mud baby. Most people are not impressed. Story 32. My favorites include sending and receiving a fax to and from Boweltown, Jubilee celebrations, knitting a brown sweater, working with clay, extending my spine, managing my discomfort, building a log cabin, discussing the Titanic, relieving tension in my hip, paying sewer taxes, sending mail through tubes, etching porcelain, ruling from my porcelain throne, making offerings to the toilet deities, and 3D printing. Story 33. It is a matter of convenience. The best part is that, at that time and place, using such a euphemism was still shocking and embarrassing. Story 34. I say I am going to pay my water bill for number 1 and for number 2. When a dog does it, I tell whoever is next to me, hey look, he's taking your picture. Story 35. We say, I got a BTO, because we're taking care of business. Or I make a trumpet noise, doing the chorus of shake, rattle and roll, meaning shower and shave. Story 36. My wife and I worked at the same place, which was an office with cubicles, and we could instant message each other using the company system. We would say, I've got to go to John's cubicle. It was simple and effective. Now, if she texts me while I'm in the restroom, I'll reply with, I'm at John's cubicle. Story 37. We moved to Florida when I was very little. When we would kill the occasional palmetto bug, I would exclaim, Buggy, buggy, as I watched it swirl away, flush down the toilet. I've always been easily entertained. To this day, making a buggy remains our funny code for a longer visit to the bathroom. Story 38. When I was working from home, my partner joked that I spent so much time in the bathroom that it should be my office. From then on, I started saying I was going to file some paperwork, and it kind of stuck. Story 39. My college friend from Newcastle, England, would proclaim that he was off for a netty. I have no idea if this was something peculiar to him, General Geordie speech, or if it has a specific etymology, but this was the phrase that came immediately to mind. Story 40. Just gonna drop the kids off at the pool. Need to check on Donner and Blitzen. Just need to check the nippet valve. Story 41. I'm a chef, and my former head chef used to say he was going upstairs to bake the chocolate fondants. Story 42. I heard a podcast story where a guy's date said she was headed to the restroom to honk out a dirt snake. Wow, just wow. Story 43. My friend supposedly made one up the other day. I have a North American mud snake I need to release into the wild. Story 44. Gangway, I need to go to the bathroom. Or, I'm gonna take a bathroom break. I'm a girl, so these jokes get laughs if I'm in the right crowd. Story 45. That one used by the Norwegian resistance, who said they were going to telephone Hitler. Story 46. Off to enjoy my morning constitution, or if it is the rare second time, it is time for Poo Part 2. I know that 2 doesn't really rhyme, but it is a good time. Story 47. My husband used to say he needed to relieve himself when he had to use the bathroom, and somehow, through our constant silliness, we've progressed to using hack into the mainframe instead. Additionally, although it is not a euphemism, we always joke that the bathroom fan is basically a loudspeaker announcing, I am using the restroom. Story 48. In Icelandic, we say, playing chess with the Pope. I have played chess with the Pope in the Vatican. Story 49. In the company I work for in the software development field, my coworkers and I use the word deploy, as in, I'm going to the restroom to take a break. Story 50. Going to the bathroom. Simple and elegant as far as using the toilet is concerned. Going to ride the toilet. I don't know why it's called a unicorn and not a horse since unicorns have horns. Going to take my time. Rarely done but quite amusing. Story 51. Send a fax to Darmstadt because in Dutch, intestines are called Darmen and city is Stad. Darmstadt is a city in Germany. Story 52. Go to the can. I even tried to teach my niece this one, but my sister corrected her. I also say use the toilet. Story 53. Once I took time off to rescue a dog. I told my boss I was going to see a man about a dog. I was unaware this was a euphemism. Story 54. When I worked at Disney World, if I was working on Main Street, we would say we had a meeting with the mayor. Story 55. When my son was very young, I had to take him to work one day. I was on a conference call and he needed to go to the bathroom. He wanted to write on my whiteboard, I need to go potty. But given his young age, his spelling was off, so he wrote, I need go pod. Ever since then, when my wife and I need to excuse ourselves to use the facilities, we always say, I need go pod when we get up to go. It always invokes a chuckle. Story 56. Well, usually it's dropping kids off at the pool. But if you're out camping, it's letting the kids go play in the woods. Story 57. Dad used to say he was going to hold court on the toilet. I use that or say I am going to have a grumpy. If we have Chinese food, I tell my wife I am going to get rid of General Tso from my lands. Story 58. I must go to the small room. Take me down to Twinkletown. The necessity calls. I'll be back. Story 59. Throw back a wrinkly brown trout. Fire a mud missile. Make back mud. The knitting of a brown sweater made me spit my coffee out. Did I just make a new one? Story 60. My great-grandfather was a carpenter and farmer, while my great-grandmother had social ambitions. According to family lore, when she had friends visiting, he liked to announce, well, I have to go take care of something. Story 61. We only have one bathroom in my house, so whenever someone needs to go, we announce our intention. I need to use the bathroom is the most common phrase. Occasionally, we might say, it's time for the restroom, when being silly. I am having a couple of signs made to hang above the toilet that say, if you use the toilet, please remember to flush, and, what are you doing? Are you in the restroom? Story 62. I will drop a dirt snake. I will download a brown load. Story 63. My mum from the UK says, spend a penny, in reference to paid public toilets. People in Britain tend to be proper and often use euphemisms for anything related to human bodily functions. You wouldn't want to offend someone. Story 64. In my old job, we referred to it as hanging up the high visibility vest. We used to have a small nail in each of the stalls. Story 65. Inspired by an Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston movie where she named it after a woman she doesn't like. My husband and I now say we have to take a Trump. Story 66. I grew up with a car enthusiast who would say, "I'm going to bleed the brake system." My boss takes a long time in the bathroom, so when people ask where he is, we usually say, "He's in his office at the moment." Story 67. I'd say I'm hanging up the phone to use the restroom because it was really the only time I hung up the corded phone in high school. Story 68. The older woman in Benidorm said in an episode, "Right, I'm off to free the slaves." I never use it, but it made me laugh. Story 69. I am going to make a quick donation. I need to prepare something quickly. Please hold on, I need to take care of a personal matter. I will be right back. I need to stop by the depository. Story 70. I must consult the great white round one. I am pretty sure it is from Fairly Odd Parents, and I almost never get to use it. Story 71. I'll never forget a story of a friend who used to say, "I'm going to look for a bicycle," while heading into the bushes during hikes. One time, he actually found one. Story 72. My colleagues and I were working on a project in Ukraine. The bathrooms in the factory were terrible, so we would walk back to our shared house to use the restroom. In the mid-90s, our euphemism was, "I forgot my camera back at the house." Story 73. My wife's stepfather is named Donnie, and he can be difficult at times. My wife and I say, "I need to go take care of something," even when he is present, and he usually laughs. Story 74. Taking the Rangers to the landing zone was a phrase I heard a few times in the Army, and it always struck me as funny. I love it. Story 75. I am going to listen to Wu-Tang. This inside joke between my boyfriend and me started at the beginning of our relationship. I wanted to go to the bathroom, felt shy, and played some Wu-Tang music, asking him to stay in the room and listen. The funniest phrase I've heard is "going to pay the mayor." It doesn't make sense, but I find it hilarious. Story 76. I got my toddler to start calling it taking a Trump. This is similar to how the saying "his name is Mud" originated. Story 77. In the film industry, when you hear someone call out a 10-to-1, it means they need to take a break. Then, 10-to-2 is self-explanatory. Finally, 10-to-200 means that the crew member is radio silenced. During this time, secure the windows and hope that the sound technician does not pick up any disturbances. Story 78. In the film industry, we announce on the radio when called that we are on 10-1. I'll leave you to wonder what 10-2 means. Story 79. Sadly, there are no euphemisms used in my house. My wife and kids each calmly say, "Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom." Polite, yes. Do I need or care to know every time? No. Story 80. I need to turn the bike around. Dropping the kids off at the big game. When you have to go, you have to go. Go for the long drop. Use the restroom. I need to take care of the situation. I need to drop the kids off at the pool. I need to water the garden. I'm sure I'll think of more. Story 81. Iron the old shoelaces is 1920s slang, and I have always liked it ever since I heard it. However, my friends do not understand what I am saying. Story 82. My grandpa always used to say he was going to make a phone call, and then he expected us to ask him if it was going to be a long-distance call. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.